You know, have you ever noticed how in almost any team, right, or a project, maybe even just a casual group, there's often that one person. They're not always the official leader, but somehow they seem to be the linchpin,
Uh-huh. The one everyone relies on for.
something specific.
Exactly. Their
Yeah.
input, maybe some unique knowledge they have. It just makes everything click.
Yeah, it's like they're woven into the very fabric of how things work.
Right. And it gets to the point where you think, could this even function without them? They're not just important. They feel, well, indispensable.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's unpack this today because we're doing a deep dive into some really compelling ideas from a source called Crafting Dependency, the Art of Indispensability.
Interesting title.
Isn't
Yes.
it? Our mission here is to really get into this idea of like actively building reliance and what that means for power, influence, and maybe even control.
The title alone, Crafting Dependency, it suggests it's deliberate, a strategy, almost a skill you can learn. So what does it really mean to make yourself indispensable? How do we even start thinking about that strategically?
Well, what's fascinating right off the bat is how the source frames it. It talks about these as laws you can actively use.
Actively use, okay.
Yeah, to build power, influence, or control situations. So it's immediately telling us, look, this isn't passive. This isn't just hoping you get noticed.
Right, not just being good at your job and hoping for the best.
Exactly. It's presented as a very strategic, intentional approach to how you engage, how you position yourself. It's about understanding the mechanics of influence, really, and then consciously applying them.
That's a powerful way to put it, isn't it? Laws you can actively use. It sort of implies if you follow these principles, you can expect certain outcomes.
Precisely. It suggests a cause and effect relationship.
So, okay, let's jump right into the core idea then. The main directive from the source. It's pretty blunt, actually.
Uh-huh.
It just says, make people dependent on you.
Wow, okay. Straight to the point.
Right. So just think about your first reaction to hearing that. It sounds quite assertive, maybe even a little provocative.
It definitely cuts through the noise. And the source apparently follows that up immediately with the why.
It does. The stated purpose is create reliance so they can't cut you off.
Ah, there it is. So the strategic intent is just laid bare.
Yeah.
This really separates it from just, being helpful or being a good colleague. It's not only about contributing value.
It's about security.
It's about establishing a position that's so crucial, so embedded, that removing you becomes incredibly difficult, maybe even impossible without major disruption. It elevates being useful into something much more secure, central.
Okay, so that idea of reliance being more than just helpful seems key. But what does that dependency actually look like? When we say can't be cut off, that sounds quite strong.
It does.
Is it always just about being the only person who knows how to do X and kind of hoarding that knowledge? Or is reliance a bigger idea here?
That's a really important question because reliance isn't just one thing. It can show up in several different powerful ways. It goes way beyond just keeping secrets.
Okay, like what?
Well, first, there's possessing unique expertise, like a really specialized skill set or deep knowledge that hardly anyone else in the organization has.
Right, the go-to expert.
Exactly. Think about maybe that one coder who built a critical old system everyone still uses. Or, I don't know, the architect who holds the entire history and design philosophy of a product in their head.
Yeah, if they leave, there's a huge immediate gap.
A void, exactly. It's not just any knowledge, it's unique and critical.
Got it. What else?
Another big one is controlling access to vital resources or information. Now, this doesn't have to be malicious gatekeeping, but being the essential channel.
The conduit.
Yeah, maybe you're the only one with the established relationship with a key supplier or a major client. Or perhaps you manage the budget for important projects, so you're effectively deciding what moves forward.
Or even just access to data, right?
Right. Absolutely. We've all seen people who, just because of their role, control access to critical data or platforms. Everyone else needs to do their jobs. Their role isn't just useful, it's actually foundational for other people's success.
Yeah, you can probably picture someone right now. Think about your own work life or even group projects back in school. Was there someone who had that specific knowledge or skill or maybe controlled access to something crucial? Maybe they were the only one who knew the complex history of a project, so they were the default troubleshooter. or the only one who could operate that vital piece of software.
Right.
That's reliance right there. It wasn't always about them being the absolute best at everything, but they held that unique, essential piece of the puzzle.
Precisely. And then there's being the linchpin in a critical process. This is where lots of different workflows kind of depend on your input to move forward.
Ah, the bottleneck, but
Yeah.
maybe in a good way, or at least an essential way.
Sometimes, yeah. Imagine a project manager who's the only one who can pull together info from 5 different departments, sort out the conflicts, and actually push decisions through on time.
Without them, everything just stops.
Grinds to a halt. Or maybe the lead engineer who has the sole sign-off authority on a critical component before manufacturing. They connect all the dots.
Dot connector. Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Any others?
Yes, and this one's often overlooked, but it's incredibly powerful. Institutional memory.
Ah, the historian.
Kind of. The person who remembers how things used to be done, why certain big decisions were made years ago, where the hidden challenges always pop up.
They know the unwritten rules.
Exactly. They understand the political landscape, the pitfalls. Without that context, new projects might just repeat old mistakes or fail because they miss some crucial underlying dynamic.
Losing that person means losing organizational memory. That could be costly.
Hugely costly. Lots of relearning. And look, the source emphasizes the art here, the art of indispensability. It suggests skill, not necessarily malice. It's about strategically positioning yourself through value and connections, becoming central rather than just, crude manipulation.
Okay, so let's tie this back to those big goals mentioned earlier. Laws you can actively use to build power, influence, or control situations. We've talked about how dependency might be created. But how exactly does that dependency lead to power, influence, and control? Can we break that link down?
Yeah, absolutely. The connection is pretty direct, and it really comes down to leverage.
Leverage, okay.
When other people genuinely rely on you for that essential info, for critical resources, for making progress, you automatically gain significant leverage. And that leverage is what translates into those 3 outcomes.
So let's take them one by one. Power.
Okay, power. In this context, it's not just your job title. It's the actual ability to make decisions or direct actions because your input, your involvement is essential.
Your sign-off is needed, basically.
Right. If you hold the key to the next step, you have power over whether that step is taken. Like the compliance expert example. If they're the only one who understands the regulations, their yes or no on a feature isn't just advice. It's effectively a decision that dictates the product launch. Their essential function gives them real decision-making power.
Okay, makes sense. What about influence?
Influence. This is your ability to sway opinions or shape outcomes because of that indispensable role. Your perspective carries more weight, naturally.
People listen more closely.
Exactly. Your suggestions are more likely to be adopted, partly because people know you're integral to the process and your insights come from that critical position. Think about that project lead who always delivers because they understand all the moving parts. When they suggest a new way forward, their track record and essential role make their advice really influential.
Right, their opinion is valued because they're seen as essential to success. And the third one, control.
And control situations. This is about managing or even dictating the terms of engagement, the environment. If removing you is just too costly, too disruptive, too risky, you're in a stronger position to set the conditions.
You get more say in how things are done.
You get more say in the how, the who, the what priorities get set. Maybe the person managing that critical software platform gets to dictate the release schedule or the training protocols because, well, the alternative is chaos. They're not just making one decision. They're sort of setting the rules of the game for that area.
Okay, that distinction is much clearer now. Power is the critical move. Influence shapes the overall play, and control sets the actual rules of the game.
Nicely put.
But this brings up that whole art aspect again.
Mm-hmm.
Is crafting dependency always about maximizing your own gain?
Mm-hmm.
Or can it be, a legitimate professional strategy? Something that makes you a truly valuable asset?
Yeah.
Because, on one level, it sounds like smart career building, make yourself essential, but then you hear, so they can't cut you off, and it sounds harsher, more self-serving. Where's that line?
That really is the core question, isn't it? And it's where the art of indispensability comes in. The source calls it a law you can actively use, implying intention. But the how matters immensely.
Right, how you create and use the reliance.
Exactly. Let's think about, say, strategic indispensability. This is built on genuine, unique value. You're indispensable because you consistently add value that really optimizes things, making you hard to replace without a genuine loss.
Yeah, so you possess that specialized skill or deep experience.
Or you synthesize complex information in a way that enables others. Think of maybe a lead architect who defines the core design but also mentors juniors. Their unique vision is indispensable, but they also lift others up. They might share knowledge, but their unique insight is still the key. This reliance comes from real contribution. It tends to be more sustainable, more collaborative.
Okay, so you're the go-to because you make things better or possible for the whole team, not because you're hoarding the keys.
Precisely. Now contrast that with what we could call counterproductive dependency or maybe bottleneck
Now,
dependency.
the other side of the coin.
This is where reliance is created, maybe not through unique value, but by creating artificial hurdles. Gatekeeping info unnecessarily, making processes deliberately complex so only you can manage them.
Like building a reporting system only you understand.
Exactly that. Or hoarding access to a shared database just to be the single point of contact. It might give you short-term leverage, yeah, but it often breeds resentment, inefficiency.
And makes you a single point of failure.
Absolutely. Long-term, that person becomes a liability. The organization might find them hard to remove initially, but they'll be actively looking for ways around them. It's just not sustainable. It undermines trust.
That's a brilliant distinction. It really boils down to whether your indispensability empowers the system or restricts it.
Right.
Does your unique value lift everyone, or does it hold things back because only you have the key? It's something for all of us to think about. When you look around your own workplace, can you see the difference? People who build value genuinely, benefiting the team and becoming essential, versus those who maybe hold things a bit too close, creating that dependency, but at a cost. The intent, the method,
Yeah.
it changes everything.
And that is the art. The strategically indispensable person knows reliance is built on genuine, critical contribution, not artificial walls. They become central because they're the hub of expertise or information flow or process facilitation that enables others.
Their removal would leave a real vacuum.
A real vacuum, not just an inconvenience. Think of the expert negotiator who closes deals no one else can, not by hiding things, but through unique skill and reputation. Or the tech lead who debugs a system in minutes due to deep, nuanced understanding.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize this. The core insight from crafting dependency, the art of indispensability, seems to be this. You can deliberately make others reliant on you as a strategy, and that builds power, influence, control. The key mechanism is creating a situation where you can't be cut off by embedding yourself uniquely and deeply into critical systems or knowledge flows. It's about security and position just as much as contribution.
That sums it up well. And understanding this concept, it's crucial, whether you decide to actively use these ideas yourself or just recognize them when you see them playing out around you.
Just knowing the game.
Knowing the game, knowing the mechanics of dependency gives you a powerful lens to view any social or professional setting. It helps explain why some people gain influence, why certain roles are so vital. You start seeing beyond the org chart to who really holds the critical keys.
So, thinking about you, the listener,
Mm-hmm.
what does all this mean for you? Is actively pursuing this kind of indispensability a smart career move?
Mm-hmm.
And if you do, how do you navigate that fine line? How do you craft dependency that genuinely adds value for everyone, fostering collaboration, not friction, making sure you're the strategic asset, not the bottleneck? Or perhaps is simply recognizing these dynamics, understanding who's truly indispensable around you, and why is that the most powerful tool you can actually gain? Just knowing how these webs of reliance shape our world.
Something to definitely think about.
Absolutely. Something to ponder as you observe things playing out